Sure. As always, appreciate you guys being here. Coming off our second bye, which really came at a good time or a great time for us in terms of both health and mindset. Had quite a few injuries we dealt with going into UCLA and also during the game and during the week, and very hopeful that we're able to get some of those guys back this week. It's also allowed us to kind of hit the reset button. The last bye week, we worked on the individual prescriptions. This bye week, we worked on our unit prescriptions as to things we as a unit need to improve upon and get corrected. It allowed us to really turn our focus onto those individual things as a unit, but also allowed us to focus and see what we're doing well and what we need to improve upon, which bye weeks tend to allow you to do. I feel really confident coming out of the bye week that the things that showed up for us, as I've said before, this young team, when we emphasize something, we usually see the fruits of it. The one area that we continue to want to work towards is being able to win in the fourth quarter, and I think I know that we've continued to do the necessary things that will give us a chance. Indiana, obviously, a lot of respect for their program. Coach Signetti, I've known a long time. He comes from the pedigree. His dad, a Hall of Fame college football coach, who I had the chance to compete against as a student athlete at Towson State when he was the head coach at IUP, and always had great teams, and as a brother Kurt that's also a coach, so he's part of the family business and has really done a good job of not just at Indiana, but if you look at his track record everywhere he's been, he's won, and you got to give credit to a guy that does it, and he's built it the right way. Got a lot of respect for him. Extremely good in all three phases. When you look at Indiana's roster, I think they got 22 juniors or redshirt seniors or higher in their program, and they're too deep. And so a veteran group with a lot of those guys are guys that have been with him throughout his time at James Madison, that traveled with him to Indiana, which has allowed him to really get a jump start with a veteran team that knows his system, and he has taken full advantage of that opportunity. The quarterback is as advertised. He's one of those guys that throws it very accurately. He's efficient. As he goes, they go. Obviously, the rushing attack, they got a guy we're very familiar with, Roman Hemby. I think is leading them in rushing. They got two 500-yard rushers. They got a 300-yard rusher behind them. You look at the receiving corps, veteran receivers. Surratt, a guy from right down the road. Went to St. Francis, transferred up to JMU, and then goes with his coach to Indiana and is having a big year along with Cooper. So really have done a good job on the offensive side. But I think defensively is where they really jump out, because they've got a veteran group there, and it seems like number 4 is all over the tape. The Fisher kid, the linebacker, really talented player. On the back end, number 5 is a really talented player. And then, obviously they have the Kamara kid as a pass rusher that has been, I think all 3 of those guys were first team all Big Ten a year ago. So really talented across the board. We'll be a well-coached team, but what a great opportunity it is for us to host a top 2 team here in the Shell for homecoming. Ideal situation for us, and I know our players are looking forward to it, especially knowing that we probably will have a pretty good crowd in terms of people that are coming back to campus for homecoming. Our game captains into this game will be Octavian Smith, Jalen Huskey, and Daniel Owens. And with that, I will open it up to whatever questions you guys have.
Hey, Mike, on the injury front, where do things stand with Zahir and Daniel?
They both are given they're given the effort to get back. They both were active and participated in practice yesterday. We're evaluating them this week to see, and hopefully they will be available.
How much kind of stock do you put in like a shock the world mentality? Is that even necessary given the quality of the opponent?
No, we as we said earlier, and this is no disrespect to Indiana, but our opponent, much like what they do, is the biggest opponent we're going to face is ourselves. And I think when you look at the way the last 3 games have gone, it's been a lot more us than it has been the opponent. And those are the things that, that's why I feel pretty good about going into it, because these are things that can be corrected, that we need to get corrected, and we'll get it corrected this week.
Hey, Coach. After the UCLA game, you mentioned finding the what's, what the team needs to do to improve. During the bye, what did you find that you need to do better as a coach in this final stretch?
Well, one is the chess match of health. I mean, our biggest concern going into the season has been depth, and if you look at where our issues have they typically lie in our lack of depth and when we need it most. Because, when you lose 6 starters in that last drive against UCLA and replace them with freshmen, a lot of the meat of guys that have played plays around here aren't in our program, and it is what it is. So not complaining, but what I have to do as a head coach is find a way to make sure that those guys are available to finish games and are as strong as we possibly can. So for me, it's adjusting practice. It's what are the things we're not good at right now? Right now, red zone offense and third down defense. So how do I put practice plans together that allow a young team to rehearse these situations? As much as I would love to see us pop these freshmen in the microwave and pop up redshirt seniors and redshirt juniors, it just doesn't happen that way. And so what we've got to do and what I have to do is make sure I put the best practice plans I can to expedite the growth, to expedite the learning curve for the young players that have been thrust into roles and have done a really good job at it.
And then with 5 games left in the season, what would you want to see in this final stretch to call the season as a whole a success?
You know what? I'm going one at a time, Michael. I'm not going down the road of prognosticating what makes it successful. I'm one game at a time.
Hey, Coach, hoping you can talk a little bit about Jamare Glasker, what you've seen from him this season, and also kind of if it's easier to kind of convince a guy that grew up in the area to come back to Maryland after he enters the transfer portal.
With Jamare, again, a year ago we had to reset the DB room, the corner room. If you watch us on tape, we had a lot of young players. We gave up a lot of passing yards, and so we set out to fix that issue, and we fixed it with getting a guy like Jamare Glasker to come back home. He's a guy from Potomac High School. Coach Crump down there in Oxon Hill area has done a tremendous job and has given a ton of players and have sent a ton of players here to Maryland that have had great success. And Jamare has kind of settled down that corner room for us. He's a veteran presence. If you look at statistically what we've been able to do in the passing game, a lot of it can be attributed to our ability to play man-to-man coverage, and that's what he excels at. I think I've been a little more pleasantly surprised is the physicality that he'll play with. He's one of those corners. Typically, you say, let's block safeties and let the corner make tackles, and he's been really a high-end tackler for us and brings a physicality to the position as well as some size and length.
Mike, their pass rush, 29 sacks, leads the Big Ten, and it's not just one guy. It's a slew of different characters. What is it about that pass rush that makes it such a challenge?
Yeah, they're really slippery. Meaning they've got some guys that do a great job of shedding and getting off of blocks, the movement that they create. They also create some issues with you in that they show all-out pressure, but typically they're bringing 4. Which we call it change coverage. So it gives the illusion of here comes a bunch of people, and then they drop a bunch of people out, and then they bring an illusion of a bunch of people, and they bring a bunch of people. So they create confusion in the protections, the points, who's coming, who's not, and that's what's created some of the disruptiveness that they've created in the passing game. Now, individually, the Kamar kid is by far one of the best pass rushers. He kind of reminds me of a Yannick Ngakoue type guy, first step quickness, speed to power pass rusher that, we've done a good job thus far of keeping our quarterback, a freshman quarterback, from getting the yips of looking at the rush because we've kind of made sure we blocked people up. Best thing we can do to help with those type of guys and that type of thing is be able to run the ball and control the line of scrimmage in the run game.
And you mentioned the running game. Is it there 3 backs? Is it 3 different flavors, or is it 3 fairly similar guys?
I mean, they're different. I mean, Roman is, you can tell they're every down back. They throw it to him. He's hit a few home runs. He and the kid Black both are complementary of each other. If you look at most people on offense, they have 2 guys, 3 guys that they rotate in, much like us. Both those guys are redshirt seniors that have had a lot of football in front of them, have big toolboxes and protection and experience, and it shows up because in critical situations you see those guys being very familiar with being able to make plays when they need them. And there's no doubt, both those 2 backs are a little different. One's a little more heavy-handed as a runner. Roman is, as we know, is a home run hitter. That if you give him a crease, it will and can go. And so we got to do a great job of gap soundness, contain, and tackling.
Hey,
Hey, Coach.
What's up?
You talked about the pass rush for Indiana. On the flip side of it, for Maryland's offensive line, only 3 sacks allowed this season so far. So what do you think has kind of gone right for this unit? And then kind of through with 5 games, where do you kind of see the area of growth to close out?
I'll say one, I think we've been very intentional because, one of the things I've learned over the 37 years I've been doing this is that if you got a really talented freshman quarterback, the worst thing you can do is have him get beat up as a freshman. They tend to not lose those. And so what Pep, Howell, and Robo have been able to do in terms of giving confidence to the young quarterback to where he knows that he's been protected and he has the ability to get through some progressions and has given us a chance. The area that's been the toughest has been obviously being able to be efficient at running the ball, especially when we need to run the football. The thing that jumped out to me when I study us on offense is our P and 10, our 1st and 10 efficiency. You want to get 4 or more, and we haven't. We've been in 2nd and 10 quite a bit, and when that happens, those downs are advantageous to the defense, and those are the ones that, as you have veteran players, they learn to overcome those 2nd and 10s, and that's kind of what we've worked on.
Hey, Coach, wanted to ask you a little bit about DeJuan Williams. Seems like he's kind of taken over the backfield, leading receiver against UCLA. Just what do you feel like he's worked on, to improve and get to this point? It's
just time with DeJuan. I mean, he's a guy that came off of ACL, a really talented player out of high school. Usually takes about 1.5 years to get through the ACL. He is what we thought he would be. Both he and Nolan. Both he and Nolan complement each other really well. DeJuan's a little more heavy-handed, every down guy. Both do a great job in protection on 3rd down, and both are very capable as receivers. We've tried to focus. Juan is one of those guys that has a really good receiving skill set, creates some matchups, tight ends and running backs against linebackers. He's a guy we think can win, and so we've emphasized trying to get the ball to guys like Juan in space to take advantage of some opportunities.
What do you think is kind of the key to get him going on the ground? You mentioned early in those 1st and 10s wanting to get at least 4. What do you think is kind of the key?
Balance, being able to efficiently see, read it through, cover people up, be better on the C area, blocks where a lot of the penetration has happened, get that cleaned up, which we worked on.
Hi, Coach. You mentioned Jalen Huskey is a captain for you this week. 2 weeks ago against UCLA, he got called for targeting in the second half. Is he available for the first half? And if not, how are you going to be able to get him acclimated to play only in the second half?
Yeah, he won't be available in the first half per rules of being ejected in the second half of a game. Jalen's a veteran player. He's a senior, maybe even a redshirt senior. I don't know which one, but he's played a lot of football at Bowling Green before he came here. Acclimating a veteran player is a little easier than acclimating a true freshman or a guy that hasn't had a lot of game experience. I think for him, it's a matter of keeping him warmed up on the sideline, him staying really mentally active with helping coach some of the younger guys like the Masai DeLones that will be out there in place of him. And then once we're able to get him on the field, get him going pretty quickly. He's one of our leaders. He's a guy that we count upon to kind of be the guy in the locker room, and he's been doing just that for us. So we expect him to continue to do that. Thanks.